One of the things that I have, consistently beaten upon in Great Expectations is again that theme of duality, and it runs throughout a whole book. And I was gratified to see someone write in the discussion board that at first she had not seen the duality, but once I mentioned it, it made it extremely clear, and she wondered how she had not seen it before. This is what you should be getting in this class, the basis for being able to read a piece of literature, whether it is a short story or whether it is a novel, and be able to ferret out those things for yourself. I've had a similar experience. As a matter of fact, when I took a mythology class in community college many years ago, and I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I didn't see the aspect of a dying and re-arising Aslan being associated with the Christian dying and resurrection of the Christ figure. And someone pointed it out to me later, and I was like, how could I not have seen that? So it is a learning process, and this is what I'm hoping that in this class you get the basis, because this is an introduction to literature class, and I hope you will be able to capitalize it on that. So back to dualities. I talked about dualities a lot, as I have said, and the alter egos of the different characters, and I'm hoping that you were able to, finish the rest of the book and find some of those dualities yourself. Now, I had mentioned in the written lessons that the ending that is in Great Expectations was not the original ending that Dickens had intended for the book. His editor said, I don't like your ending. You need to change it. And so Dickens did, because even a great author like Dickens bows to, the auspices of those people in charge, and the editor was in charge. Now, the ending of Great Expectations is a huge duality. Do we really know what is going to happen between Pip and Estella? Because it says, and I'm going to read just the last couple of paragraphs. But you said to me, returned Estella very earnestly, God bless you, God forgive you. And if you could say that to me then, you will not hesitate to say that to me now. Now, when suffering has been stronger than all other teaching, and has taught me to understand what your heart used to be, I have been bent and broken, but I hope into a better shape. Be as considerate and good to me as you were, and tell me we are friends. We are friends, said I, rising and bending over her as she rose from the bench. And will continue to be friends apart, said Estella. I took her hand in mine, and we went out of the ruined place. And as the morning mist had risen long ago, when I first left the forge, so the evening mist were rising now. In all the broad expanse of tranquil light they showed to me, I saw the shadow of no parting from her. Now, this ending is very ambiguous, because Estella says we will be friends apart, but the very end sentence says I saw no shadow of parting from her. Now, I don't know quite how to interpret this, because I used to interpret it as no shadow of a parting from her, that they are going to be together, and that shadow of doubt that they will be parting is gone from them. But other people look at this and they read it and they say, no, I see it as they are parting, and therefore they will have no doubt about the parting, because they're not going to be together. And Dickens does not elucidate for us. And so I see the end as a continuation of the dualities that are throughout the book, even though this was not Dickens' original intent. Now, I'm going to read the original ending to you, because I don't know if the edition online that I recommended has this or not, and I know some of you have bought the book or went to the library and get it, but just to make sure, I'm going to read Dickens' original ending to you. And this is when Pip was talking to Biddy, and Biddy said, talking about Estella, Dear Pip, said Biddy, Are you sure you don't fret for her?" "I am sure and certain, Biddy." "Tell me, as an old, old friend, have you quite forgotten her?" "My dear Biddy, I have forgotten nothing in my life that ever had a foremost place there. But that poor dream, as I once used to call it, has all gone by, Biddy, all gone by." It was 2 years more before I saw her myself. I had heard of her as leading a most unhappy life, and as being separated from her husband, who had used her with great cruelty, who had become quite renowned as a compound of pride, brutality, and meanness. I had heard of the death of her husband, from an accident consequent on ill-treating a horse, and of her being married again to a Shropshire doctor, who, against his interest, had once very manfully interposed on an occasion when he was in a professional attendance on Mr. Drummle, and had witnessed some outrageous treatment of her. I had heard that the Shropshire doctor was not rich, and they lived on her own personal fortune. I was in England again, in London, and walking along Piccadilly with little Pip, when a servant came running after me to ask if I would step back to a lady in a carriage who wished to speak to me. It was a little pony carriage, which the lady was driving, and the lady and I looked sadly enough on one another. "I am greatly changed, I know, but I thought you would like to shake hands with Estella, too, Pip. Lift up that pretty child and let me kiss it." She supposed the child, I think, to be my child. I was very glad afterwards to have had the interview, for in her face and in her voice and in her touch she gave me the assurance that suffering had been stronger than Miss Havisham's teaching, and had given her a heart to understand what my heart used to be. So within this ending, there is no duality. Estella has learned her lesson. She married Bentley Drummle. He abused her very badly, and he died, and she remarried. And so in this ending, there's no even supposing that he and Estella are ever going to be together, but that Estella has finally reached some understanding in her life and has been able to overcome all of those things that Miss Havisham taught her. So those dualities continue. Which ending do you like best? I kind of like the ending that the editor came up with, and so perhaps sometimes editors do know better.